Flame on! Let's flame on one last time. It's me, the Goods. I'm back. Bluejaybrandon's Real Draft Countdown. This is the final installment of the countdown itself. So let's get right into this. You know, we've got the top prospects in this video. Tyrese Halliburton out of Iowa State, shooting guard, point guard. He's the do-it-all guard, 72 overall rating. Bluejaybrandon's analysis says he's a big guard, can play either backcourt position. Halliburton is one of the best pure passers in the draft, often passing teammates open instead of hitting the open man. His jump shot still developing, but by no means broken. Apparently, some teams like the Warriors even consider him the top guard in the draft. He certainly has the talent to break into an NBA rotation, could even be a solid starter on some teams. For teams looking for security in a draft full of wild cards, he may be the go-to. We've got his collegiate stats up on the board here. You guys take a look at that. Tell me what you think about that. 41%, 42 overall during his college career from three. I like to see that. That looks good. Yeah, he is a good passer. Haven't seen much of his game, but I've seen a little bit of his game. I do like him as a prospect. Don't see him going top 5. But then again, if the Warriors are high on him, I think they'll trade down. I think they will trade down. Let's keep it moving. Onyeka Okongwu. I hope I said his name right. So, let's get into him. He is from Chino Hills. He was a former teammate of the Ball brothers, but he's highly touted in his own right, says Bluejaybrandon. Currently, Okongwu's biggest positives are his motor, lob threat potential, and screen setting. He's a true hustle player, often having his pure effort outshine others' talent. He showcased a knack for collecting offensive rebounds. Screening on pick and rolls was notable. While he's not a lob threat in the vein of a Dwight Howard or DeAndre Jordan, he can get up and finish. Although some see him in the same mold as Bam Adebayo, he doesn't really possess that level of athleticism. He might be a top 25% athlete, where areas these others mentioned are top 5. His size is an issue as well, comes in around 6'9", very much on the shorter side of NBA centers. Teams may try to put him at the 4, but he's unlikely to keep up with 4s on D. He's kind of old school tweener, but in a way where it's less positive than it has become lately. I can see him being an excellent player down the road, but he need to work on his stretch potential and passing, because the days of the pure lob threat are dwindling. Man, this guy's got a motor. He does work hard, and I think he's going to work hard to stay out on the court. So I see him being a net positive for whatever team gets him. They're at least going to give him a shot. Let's move on to Killian Hayes. I like Killian Hayes. Let's jump into Bluejaybrandon's perspective of him. Killian Hayes is next up on the list. He's a dynamic point guard playing in France. Many appear to be high on him, with the Ringer's Kevin O'Connor touting him as the top prospect. Hayes certainly held his own in the French league, playing average of 19 minutes. Deadly free throw shooter. What else to say? All around solid guard. His flaws and his strengths essentially merge in the sense that he does everything well, but doesn't stand out in any facet of the game. Most of the guards have one exceptional skill with a plethora of glaring weaknesses. Hayes is the opposite. In my estimation, not me, Bluejaybrandon's, he's a guy with in the same vein as a late career Chris Paul. You plug him into the game, and you know there won't be hiccups. He just flat out makes the right plays. Bluejaybrandon doesn't necessarily see him as the best to come out the draft, but he wouldn't be surprised to see him still starting for a team 10 years from now. All right, guys, so somebody else came through with an analysis that I've got on the boards here. They've watched him a little more up close and personal. I also have the stats from the 3 different leagues that he played in with his most recent team, because he played in multiple leagues, his stats show up differently between those leagues. So you guys can take a look at that if you want. I like this guy. I think he's very solid. I like, I'm not going to compare him to any specific guard. I think he's the number 2 guard. Not number 2 point guard, I guess. That's on the board. So he's a 73 overall here in this draft class. Again, if you guys think that these ratings are too low, you have to remember they were made lower on purpose to fit within a certain construct for a specific roster, but they also work with other rosters. But you just have to kind of work the player up. Let's go to Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin is out of Dayton. I believe it's Dayton University. I usually like Dayton's teams. Obi Toppin, man, let's go into Bluejaybrandon's analysis. He exploded onto the scene last year with a competitive Dayton team that was sure to make magic in March, garner national attention. Many experts player pick of the year or pick for player of the year. He's a human highlight reel, dunks in transition are next level. One of the few people to break out a 360 in the game. Man, Bluejaybrandon's right. He even went between the legs in the game. I saw that one. That kind of athleticism can't be taught. He showcased range from 3 with the developing jump shot. At the next level, he should be a pick and roll pop nightmare for teams. He makes excellent cuts and moves well off the ball. His big weakness comes on the defensive end, though he's got an impressive vertical. His blocks are somewhat lacking. His defense overall may not hold up against NBA level talent, but only time will tell. Well, I do like Obi Toppin, and I do think he was very good in college. But that version that we just saw in college, I do not believe we will see again. He was absolutely extraordinary. I mean, this man going in between the legs in the game, that's exciting. But not just because of the highlight plays. The guy was very good. But I mean, what is he? I think he redshirted his first year. So he was in his sophomore year of playing, but really he's a 3rd year collegiate player because of that redshirt freshman year. Somebody can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I believe he was redshirted his freshman year. But for a guy that nobody was really touting as, a real legitimate NBA prospect to begin with, where he's ended up is very good. So I think he'll be around for a few years, but I wouldn't be surprised if he may be out of the league after about 7 years, 6 years, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Number 5, Isaac Okoro. Hope I'm saying that right. Let's go to Bluejaybrandon's analysis floor. He's not quite OG Anunoby level of defense entering the league, but certainly the next tier below. Most notably, he's a hustle player, doesn't give up on plays, fights over screens, not scared of switching on the players on defense, will battle opposing bigs for offensive rebounds. Unfortunately, his drawbacks come on the offensive side of the ball. He's not a great shooter, average finisher at best, especially when forced to create for himself. Well, we just had his collegiate stats up. He's rated at 7.4 overall. If he can polish up some of his offensive skill, I think he's going to find his way on the floor either way. I think his defense will just continue to improve. I like him as a prospect. Deni Avdija? Man, you guys know I'm not good with the names. All right, small forward from Israel. Had a huge game recently where he poured it in, but has overall been something of an enigma. His shooting, especially from deep, seems to be consistent strength. Like a lot of Euros prospects, he's above average as a passer. Not Luka levels, of course not. Defensively, he may struggle to adapt to NBA size and speed. He's not a great defender now against Euro players, and his weakness, I don't know what that said. Anyway, moving on. Somebody else says he is one of the best defenders in Maccabi, I believe is how you say it. Can defend almost any position, including guards. Pretty good at blocking shots as well. It really depends on what team will select him, but he is far better than someone like Hazonia, who can only dunk and shoot. Okay, so I got his stats up from the 3 leagues that he hooped in. Yeah, I did watch highlights of his recent game. I think he had dropped like 28 or 27. I don't have a real opinion on this guy because I haven't seen that much on him. Could be good. I don't really think the defense, if he's his team's current best defender, I don't think the defense will be that much of an issue in the NBA because to me, in the NBA right now, you only really need to play good defense in key moments of the game, like when you're trying to get back in it or take the lead. Of course, at the end of games and closing out the half and, sometimes closing out a quarter. But anyway, let's move on. James Wiseman. First of the big 3 prospects, says Bluejaybrandon. In his draft, he holds 75 overall. What else does he say? Traditional center out of Memphis, left early. We all know it was a crazy situation there. What else does he say? He's been highly touted with many early on, considering him a consistent top pick. Dominant rebounder and could quickly go back up with offensive boards. Doesn't yet possess stretchability. What else? Very much in the vein of Hassan Whiteside. Sorry about that, guys. And not former first overall pick DeAndre Ayton. I guess he's just talking about the stretchability. Maybe too much of a dying breed to be worth a top pick. As guards and perimeter players run the current game. I don't know. Let's see. He played a couple games at Memphis. He was averaging about 20 points and 10 rebounds. Man, I seen footage of this dude. This dude is serious. He's serious in terms of his skill. I would take him over a guy. If him and, let's say, Jahlil Okafor were in the same draft class, came out the same time, I would take James Wiseman over Jahlil Okafor. And I remember back then, like at least in the 2K world, everybody was like making my GMs and my leagues drafting Jahlil Okafor as their next centerpiece, and we saw what happened to him. But I would take James Wiseman over a guy like that had he been in that draft. He's really strong, man. He plays no games with smaller guys. Moving on, probably one of the fan favorites. You guys know who it is. LaMelo Ball, 75 overall for this draft class. Bluejaybrandon says, so here it is. Second of the top 3 and by far the most notable is LaMelo time. After forgoing the traditional college route, heading to Australia to play ball, eventually dropped out of competitive play to rehab a foot injury before the draft. He's one of the most polarizing prospects in quite a while. It's been a household name ever since LeVar hyped him up almost 3 years ago. I don't know what I can add that hasn't already been said. Shot selection is questionable. Playmaking is exceptional. You guys know the story. I've been watching LaMelo Ball for a long time. I first noticed him even before LeVar Ball was put on the national stage, back when Lonzo was starting to garner attention. I started paying attention to Lonzo in high school, but then I was like, dang, who is this little kid? Like he was little compared to everybody they were playing against. I mean, he's grown a lot physically. His game has grown a lot. I watched him in the JBL. I watched him in the NBL. And unfortunately, I ended up covering the stats here on accident. I meant to show off his stats. Oh, there they go. But yeah, if he would have had some teammates who could finish on that Illawarra Hawks team, his assists probably would have been double digit. His rebounding was good. Josh Boone, man, he fumbled so many passes on that team. LaMelo Ball has some special talent for passing. He's definitely worth any pick. Anywhere you choose him, I would rather that he went to a better team than get a high pick, but whatever. He's probably going to go to a horrible team and a bad organization as far as team building like the Knicks. And that's just how the chips are going to fall. So we'll see if his talent is enough to transcend him. Now, moving on, Anthony Edwards coming in as the top overall prospect of this draft class. Anthony Edwards, 75 overall rating. I don't know if I missed it or if there wasn't a Bluejaybrandon analysis for Anthony Edwards. I probably missed it because Anthony Edwards was actually the first person that he revealed in his thread, and then he did the counting down backwards because he used Anthony Edwards as like an example of how he was going to show things off. But I think I missed Bluejaybrandon's analysis of Anthony Edwards. But as you can see in some of the footage here, he can take big shots. He can make big shots. He's not afraid to put the team on his back, try and carry a team, which he will not have to do in the NBA at all. He looks like he's destined for a leadership role on whatever team he goes to. I think Anthony Edwards at some point in his career will probably end up as the leader of an NBA team, the guy that they go to. But I think that team, as of right now, I don't see him transcending to be the best player on the NBA team, but I don't know, he could grow into that. I definitely see him as a leader, man. Can't project too much on these guys. These guys are young. He only had 1 year in college. He's not afraid of the light, of the big lights, the big stage. And that's where we're ending this countdown, guys. It has been fun. It has been great. Remember, guys, I'm not a professional analyst. I'm just another guy on YouTube. I'm just another guy playing 2K. Bluejaybrandon, thank you for providing us with this. Big shout outs to